So, ganito tayo magre-report sa ating social science and philosophy na entrepreneurial mind. So, first na magre-report ay si April. Ganito yung simulan. So, sabihin ni April is, "Good morning, Prof. Good morning, classmates. This is our report. Code Entrepreneurial Mind, Module 3, Lesson 3. Lesson 3 of the 10 Economic Principles." And then sunod ako, sabihin ko our topic is all about how the economy as a whole works. And then sunod si Alessandra, sasabihin niya is Principle 8, a country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and services. Ang next ay si Hazel, ang sabihin niya is what is economic system? An economic system is the combination of the various agencies and entities that provide the economic structure that defines the social community. And then, sunod na magsalita ay si Jelika. Ang sabihin niya is, tungkol sa graph na to is, these agencies are joined by lines of trade and exchange goods. Ang next ay si Talia. Ito yung sasabihin niya. Tungkol sa graph na to. Many different objectives may be seen as desirable for an economy, like efficiency, growth, liberty, and equality. Sunod ay si April, di ba? Ang sabihin niya is, tungkol sa graph na to is, ang sabihin niya dito tungkol sa graph nito ay, an economic system may involve production, allocation of economic inputs, distribution of economic outputs, landlords and land availability, households earnings and expenditure, consumption of goods and service in an economy, financial institutions, firms, and the government. So next, sino ba yung sunod? Ako na sunod, di ba? So, sunod ay tungkol sa graph na to, i-explain ko is alternatively, an economic system is the set of principles by which problems of economics are addressed, such as economic problem of scarcity through allocation of finite productive resources. So next, Alessandra. The scarcity problem, for example, requires answers to basic questions such as number 1, what to produce, number 2, how to produce it, number 3, who gets what is produced. So next na, kilala nyo na sino yung next. Examples of contemporary economic systems include planned systems, free market systems, and mixed economies. In a planned system, the government exerts control over the allocation and distribution of all or some goods and services. Yan yung explanation dito sa picture na to. And then, explanation dito is, yung next na sunod, alam niyo na sino-sino yan, explanation is dito is the system with the highest level of government control is communism. So next, Hala, mali. Sige, ulitin ko dito banda. Di ba contemporary? Tapos itong contemporary. Ito pala yung explanation dito. Today, the world largely operates under a global economic system based on the free market mode of production. So, yung sinabi ko dito is yung explanation sa picture na to. Next. In the plant system, the government exerts control over the allocation and distribution of all or some goods and services. The explanation dito. The system with the highest level of government control is communism. Next. In theory, a communist economy is one in which the government owns all or most enterprises. Next. Central planning by the government dictates which goods or services are produced, how they are produced, and who will receive them. Communism is practically non-existent today, and only a few countries, notably North Korea and Cuba, operate under rigid, centrally planned economic systems. Next slide. Under socialism, industries that provide essential services such as utilities, banking, and healthcare may be government owned. Other businesses are owned privately. Central planning allocates the goods and services produced by government-run industries and tries to ensure that the resulting wealth is distributed equally. In contrast, privately owned companies are operated for the purpose of making a profit for their owners. In general, workers in socialist economies work fewer hours, have longer vacation, and receive more health, education, and childcare benefits than do workers in capitalist economies. Sandali lang. To offset the high cost of public services, taxes are generally steep. Examples of socialist countries include Sweden and France. As for the free market system, most businesses are owned and operated by individuals, and this system is also known as capitalism. In a free market, competition dictates how goods and services will be allocated. Business is conducted with only limited government involvement. The economies of the United States and other countries, such as Japan, are based on capitalism. In a capitalist economic system, production is carried out to maximize private profit. Decisions regarding investment and the use of the means of production are determined by competing business owners in the marketplace. Production takes place within a process of capital accumulation. The means of production are owned primarily by private enterprises, and decisions regarding production and investment.
Kunin lang ako. Pagbalik. Magaling ba niya magsayaw? Nakatawa lang.
Dali lang. So, production and investment determined by private owners in capital markets. Capitalist systems range from laissez-faire laissez-faire with minimal government regulation and state enterprise to regulated and social market systems with the stated aim of ensuring social justice and a more equitable distribution of wealth or ameliorating market failures. Principle 9. Prices rise. Principle 9. Prices rise when the government prints too much money.
Yung ganun yung inaano mo dito.
Monetary policy is a central bank's actions and communications that manage the money supply. The money supply includes forms of credit, cash, checks, and money market mutual funds. The most important of these forms of money is credit. Credit includes loans, bonds, and mortgages. Monetary policy increases liquidity to create economic growth. It reduces liquidity to prevent inflation. Central banks use interest rates, bank reserve requirements, and the number of government bonds that banks must hold. All these tools affect how much banks can lend. Next, all this, the volume of loans affects the money supply. Next slide. Principle 10, trade-off between inflation and unemployment. The relationship between inflation and unemployment can be best explained with the use of the Phillips curve. The Phillips curve shows the inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. As unemployment decreases, inflation increases. The Phillips curve relates the rate of inflation with the rate of unemployment. The Phillips Dito pa rin pala, sandali lang. The Phillips curve shows the inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. As unemployment decreases, inflation increases. The Phillips curve relates the rate of inflation with the rate of employment. The Phillips curve argues that unemployment and inflation are inversely related. As levels of unemployment decrease, inflation increases. The relationship, however, is not linear. Graphically, the short run Phillips curve traces on an L shape when the unemployment rate is on the x-axis and the inflation rate is on y-axis. The curve shows the inverse the curve shows inverse the curve shows the inverse trade-off between inflation and unemployment. As one increases, the other must decrease. In this image, an economy can either experience 3% unemployment at the cost of 6% of inflation or increase unemployment to 5% to bring down the inflation levels to 2%. Sources condensed from the notes of Dr. Mahatma Kalagi. References. That's all. Thank you.